Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Graham Dorran's out for 3 months and now Kenny Miller is a major doubt for Rangers against Celtic. Craig Levein says playing young players is paying off but his options are limited. Brendan Rodgers says Scott Brown has the Gerrard effect at Celtic. Yeah, just a few of the talking points as we look ahead to the weekend's football across all 4 divisions in Scotland and the top flight in English football as well. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. Usually on a Friday, Ruffy, we have Hugh MacDonald with us, but if it's a lesson to everyone, Hugh sadly slipped on some black ice and I think he's broken his arm, so we wish him all the very best. I mean, what a blow.
Yeah, it was very treacherous last night. I think it was that black ice that you couldn't really see, and obviously, unfortunately for Hugh, he's come a cropper.
Yep, absolutely. A real big blow to us on a Friday, but nevertheless, it gives Ruffy and myself a chance to have a real ding-dong argument with each other as we normally do. OK, let's have a look at the back pages of the newspapers. Never mind McInnes, Mourinho couldn't sort Gers, says John Hartson. OK, and also Dorran's out for 12 weeks. That is a blow for Rangers. And also Lenny slams Hibs goalie for diving the wrong way at the Morelos goal. The Mail, this is not a bluff. Mulroney insists the SFA threat to quit Hampden is real. And again, just confirmation of Graham Dorran's out for 3 months for Rangers. The Courier, and of course a beaming picture there of Scott Fraser with the Player of the Month, and United trying to get him on a new deal. And the Press and Journal, smells like team spirit at Rooney's resilient Reds, and of course this is the story just backing up the feelings of the Aberdeen squad now that Derek McInnes has stayed. It's given Aberdeen a huge lift. Will that continue over the weekend? We'll discuss that in greater detail. Of course, John Hartson's comments stinging to say the least. Mourinho couldn't sort out the problems at Gers. Well, Graham Murty seems to be doing that on the field of play. So a little harsh, or is he talking mainly about the madness that goes on behind the scenes?
No, I think in the light of things, I think Rangers would be a wee bit upset with that. You know, obviously the form that they've been on. Yeah, I think we all know things could be better behind the scenes, but on the park, as you said, Graham Murty has done nothing wrong. The players have done nothing wrong. They're sitting second top of the league. I've said it all along, I don't think you can ask for any more. Even if a new manager came in, I don't think they could get any better than that. That should be the target, second place and Europe. So I think John's maybe just been a wee bit heavy on that one. Yeah,
OK, we'll hear from Graham Murty shortly. Here's how the Premiership fixtures shape up over the weekend. No doubt about the game of the day, I think, on the Saturday. Aberdeen against Hibernian is the 12:30 kick-off. It's Dundee, Partick Thistle, Hamilton, Ross County, Kilmarnock against Motherwell, Rangers at home to St Johnstone, looking for 5 in a row now, and Hearts against Celtic is the cracker at Tynecastle on the Sunday at 12:30. Let's focus first of all on Aberdeen against Hibs. Well, they get a good win in midweek. Neil Lennon basically has said the reason why things have looked settled now at Aberdeen is because, of course, the players know Derek McInnes is staying.
It's a very impressive result to go there. I mean, St Johnstone's not an easy place, and to win 3-0, it's very impressive. So they seem to have got the form and the mojo back, and I think that's all down to the manager, really. You know, I think they've had a huge lift from Derek staying.
Yep. It's amazing how players respond, though, isn't it? Once you know your future, and Neil Lennon has got to try and lift his players to go up to Pittodrie. I think this is the tough test for them, because potentially it could put such a huge gap between his ambitions to get him second in the table.
Yeah, and I think that would be the sore one for Neil Lennon. You know, how well they played against Celtic, and obviously, by all accounts, played particularly well against Rangers and get nothing out of it. So if they were to go up to Pittodrie and again get nothing, I think he would really be disappointed. But I have a wee bit of hope for them, because I know Derek's come back and they get a good result against Dundee, but I saw a lot of that game. Dundee should have taken something out of that game. So there are teams are getting chances against them. Okay, against it Johnson, they were very, very convincing and 3-0. But I think Neil will go up there with the form that his players are in. He'll expect to take something out of that game.
Yeah, well, it's a 6-point gap at the moment. Neil Lennon still thinks Hibs can be the second force in Scottish football.
Well, if Rangers are currently the second best team in the country, where are we then? You know, we have to look at that. We're 6 points behind at the minute, which is nothing. You know, with so much football to go. We've been very, very unfortunate not to have picked up more points. We've not been dominated in any game other than at times against Celtic, which is understandable. And in the rest of the games, some of the football we've played this season has been outstanding.
Yeah, I tend to agree with him. I mean, there's some games where I can't believe they slipped up.
Yep, and I think obviously with the midweek game against Rangers was a definite. You know, I think anybody was at that game. I think even Graham Murty came out of that game saying, look, we dodged a bullet there, but we'll take it and we'll move on, because some of the play, particularly in the wide areas at Hibs, was really, really good to watch, and they had a few goalmouth chances that they just couldn't take, and it remains to be seen, as we spoke about it last night, you know, where he's going to go and bring people in, and I would expect it would be a striker.
Yeah, just on that point, this is what Neil Lennon had to say about the transfer activity.
We're always looking for strikers. Everyone's looking for strikers. You know, we like Louis Moult, but he's just gone for £500,000 down the road, so you know, they don't just fall off a tree. Simon's got 14, 15 goals. Stokes's on 9 or 10. You know, could do with a few more pitching in. Ollie Shaw's got 2 and 3. So the strikers aren't just all to blame for our lack of goals.
Yeah. Do you think Niall McGinn would help?
Yeah, I think he will. I think he proved at Aberdeen from not from a wide position, he can score goals, you know. But and I know Neil's saying there that the guys all have chipped in, but I think when the crunch comes, when you play the big games, the games against Rangers and Aberdeen, Hearts, obviously, you need a striker who's a wee bit special, a striker who can get you something out of nothing. And I don't think Neil's got that just now, but I'm sure he'll be really, really working on it very hard. Yep,
of course, we have to be very positive about the way Aberdeen have bounced back after the disappointment of the Rangers results, and finally Derek McInnes committing himself to the club, albeit for now. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, but Derek McInnes himself is ready for Hibs. You can see similarities with what Neil Lennon's doing at Easter Road and what he has achieved at Pittodrie.
I actually liken him similar to my Aberdeen team the first couple of years. I think that Neil's made got the best out of players that was already at the club, and he's added good experience, and he's got good wide players, you know, similar to what we were a few years ago, I think, in terms of that side of it. And I think that he's got the club moving the right way. The supporters are turning out in good numbers, and I think they are where they are in the league, and rightly so. They'll be challenging at the top end of the table.
Yeah, how many players do you think he needs?
Well, obviously, Rooney started scoring again. You know, Stewart started scoring, so he'll feel as if he doesn't need a striker. I think midfield, maybe. You know, but again, I mean, there you saw Neil Lennon there talking $500,000 as if no chance. We don't have $500,000, and I don't think there's any other Scottish club apart from Celtic have $500,000 either. I mean, I saw Rangers this morning being interested in Jamie Murphy at 1.2. I think that'd be a shock to the system if that was to go through. You would have thought, and I think Barry touched on it. You know, if Rangers can afford 1.2, why did they not go 500,000 for Lou Moult? You know, they missed a chance there. But it'll be an interesting one when January comes, because the way they're talking is, I don't see, they'll have to pick the right person, you know, at the right price, because I don't think they've got a lot of money to throw about.
Here's what Derek McInnes makes of the transfer window for Aberdeen.
There's always been that support from the club. You know, we don't have the funds that maybe 1 or 2 other clubs have, but well, certainly it's no stopped us trying to improve the squad in the past, and it won't again. And I'm pleased with the squad in terms of numbers. I think we're more than fine I think the emergence of some of the younger ones this season has bolstered the squad. So again, it's not always an easy month to bring good recruitments in, but you know, there may well be the flexibility to do one or two things if we feel the need.
Who's winning that match at Pittodrie, Ruffy?
I think Hibs will get something out of the game.
Yeah.
I think the way they played against Rangers, they'll go into the game with confidence. They've already touched on Aberdeen. I know they beat St Johnstone 3-0, but I still think that they're vulnerable at the back.
Yeah.
And I think Hibs have got, as Derek touched on it there, the wide men to trouble them.
Yeah, what, Hibs to win?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Hibs win, yeah.
Wow, okay. Yeah. There's a shock. And the other thing I was going to say to you, if you get any Aberdeen fans who are your pals, I have a few. Do you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple. Wee Joe Harper. I would think Wee Joe would be my pal.
Well, I think you might be getting. One of these prints. They brought out limited edition prints, concomitant you Reds. You like a wee bit of banter in the old football game, don't you, Ruffy?
Yeah, you certainly do. And obviously, whoever came up with that word will be just hiding somewhere in a wee cupboard somewhere.
Oh, listen, I'm sure.
Do we know who it is?
I'm sure Aberdeen fans will get a print over to Dave as soon as they possibly can, if it is indeed Dave. You were miles out there. We're having. I don't think we've had a good week with the questions, Ruffy.
No, I don't know what. I was thinking of the World Cup in '66 to see if he was there or thereabouts then.
I think Franny Lee really was. You know, Bell, Lee and Summerby was the late '60s on to the '70s. Is that fair?
Yeah,
you know,
72.
Yeah, well, but I think United won it in '67. I think then City started to get their grips with the title too.
A wonderful team.
Yeah, great team. Very unusual to get, three special players in both Manchester sides at the time.
Actually, a Scottish goalkeeper went there.
Don't tell me.
That I was supposed to go there.
Yeah. Did he actually get the move ahead of you?
Yep.
Keith McRae?
Yep.
Well, I remember him, red hair. Yeah. Did he come from Motherwell?
That's right.
Okay. There you are. I'll love a wee bit of trivia with you as well, Ruffy. Rangers against St Johnstone. I'll be bold with you. St Johnstone can be tough at the best of times, but I'm tipping Rangers to win this one, Ruffy, on the basis that Graham Murty, I like what he's doing. The lad's saying all the right things. I don't think he'll get the job, but he's saying all the right things and he's conducting himself in the proper manner. Yeah,
that'll be a massive result in midweek there to go into this game. I don't think St Johnstone are playing particularly well just now. I think a lot of the players are off form, so I think it'll be St Johnstone going there, try to take maybe a point out of the game, but I think Rangers, with the confidence and the crowd behind them, will win this one quite comfortably. Yeah, they've got a few injury worries. Obviously, Graham Dorn's out for 3 months is a major blow. And here's an update on Kenny Miller.
He's been for a scan today. I'm going to go in and see the physio staff. I don't think the radiologist has read the scan yet, but he's been and checked out his hamstring. We're hopeful that it's not as big as it looks. It looked big. But he's got some quite good range, and we're hopeful he's not going to be out for too long. But the end of the year might come a little bit too soon for him, the game at Celtic, so we'll just have our fingers crossed and see how he progresses.
Is it a big blow that Miller wouldn't be there at an Old Firm game? Yeah, and it's really that he's mentioned the Celtic game, which is even bigger. He knows how important it is, and he knows how important Kenny Miller is to this Rangers team, and particularly in a massive game like that. We saw him, I think it was the last time there, he dropped off the striker role and went into a sort of a midfield role, controlling all the players run about him, and I thought he'd done a wonderful job there. Obviously not creating the amount of goal scoring opportunities that he did, but I think he did even more in midfield that day. Yeah, I'd heard whispers also over the last week or so that Walter Smith had been chatting with Graham Murty, which, listen, I think is a great thing. Oh, I think it's a fantastic thing. You tap into every advice you can get, and who better to get it off than Walter Smith? I would like to think that he would be, not only Walter Smith, but other people as well. You've got to tap into, and I think he'll be
presently pleased with the Hibs result. I know that obviously they dodged a bullet in it, but no, I think his CV of wins now is very complimentary.
Yeah, okay. Here's what Graham Murty had to say about the chat with the Rangers legendary boss.
I do. I speak to Walter. Walter was actually in the academy office the other day. His grandsons were here, and we just had sitting and having a chat. And to be perfectly honest, sitting and listening to the maestro talk for an hour isn't long enough. We could sit and listen to him all day, just because of his depth of his knowledge, the depth of his feeling for the club. It's always a privilege and an honour to listen to someone like that. So I think I would be naive and not a little arrogant not to go into that with the most open mind possible.
Yep, absolutely. When you've got somebody with all that knowledge, you can pick his brains for as long as you possibly can. Especially, I think it's smart from Graham Murty's point of view, especially when you are, you know, a novice at this level. I mean, Walter could tell him some of the pitfalls, what to avoid, you know. I think in front of house he's been great, but he just might give him little insights into some of the tougher games coming up.
Yeah, I mean, as Graham Murty said there, you know, you've got to listen to somebody who's been in European finals, you know, played, you know, even down in England with Sir Alec, and any bit of advice that you're going to take in. You don't have to take everything in. I mean, you obviously, I would think that most of the stuff we'd be telling you, you'd be saying, yeah, I'm going to take that on board.
Yeah, well, despite the fact that Hibs will feel they should have taken something more from the game at Easter Road, Rangers didn't play at their best, but Danny Wilson says confidence is growing.
I wouldn't say it's a change of mentality. I think we've always known kind of what we're about, where we wanted to be, and I think just maybe from the outside people are sensing a change because of the results, but we knew within this building what we were capable of, and we've managed to get some good results recently, and everybody else on the outside's looking in and thinking that things are changing. We knew what we're about, so we'll just keep going on about our business.
Okay, Blow for St Johnstone, Murray Davison out until the new year. How do you see it going? I've tipped Rangers to win. What about you?
Yeah, I've tipped Rangers to win. The only thing was I keep thinking of the Ross County game was a wee bit of a scramble, and obviously the Hibs game in midweek, so I think they will win it, but I don't. Okay, 2-0 Rangers.
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about us now is we're building up that rapport when you can tell by my eyes, I'm looking at you and going, stop waffling and just give us an opinion, will you?
It's a fair shout.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Here's the next one, Hearts Celtic. Sunday, fantastic game. Really looking forward to this one. And of course, Craig Levein has been throwing in a few youngsters and rightly getting praise.
Well, magnificent, all credit to him, you know, for taking the shout to throw the 3 young boys in there, and they haven't let him down. It'll be interesting to see whether he thinks that the 3 of them can get pitched in against Celtic at the weekend. I'm sure it'll be a massive lift for the 3 young boys if they're in the lineup, but I think Celtic still might be too strong for them. I think they're beginning to, again, use the rotation system, and for me, Scott Sinclair is now beginning to show the form that he showed last year, and when he's on fire, you know, everybody else run about him is as well. Yeah,
it could be a tough one for the Tynecastle faithful. Arnaud Djoum out, of course Jamie Walker as well, and Aaron Hughes has really been struggling to get regular games because of the injuries, and John Souttar suspended, so he's going to have to rely on young players, as the Hearts boss mentioned.
The risks are inexperience, being in the wrong position, not having the strength to protect the ball and giving it away in dangerous areas, which leads, of course, to chances for the opposition. The risk is mitigated a little bit by the fact that they've trained with the first team since the summer. So you see them in that environment, and you recognise that they're capable of sort of football-wise competing, physically maybe not, but they've done better than I would have expected, and that's a great credit to them.
What are the risks?
Yep, okay. What are the risks? I heard a journalist say there. Burnout, if you keep relying on them. There's the first one. Of course, Craig Levein first to admit that it's going to be a tough task against a team on such a long, unbeaten run.
69 games is a remarkable statistic, because it's difficult to play to a level where the drop-off still allows you to win and not lose matches. So they've done that for 69 games, 2 seasons almost, so that is remarkable. But I mean, they have at times been close to losing matches, and I think all of the teams like ourselves who are trying to stop this run are relying on a couple of things. One, us performing at our absolute maximum, and Celtic maybe not being at their best. So if those two things coincide, then we've got a good chance.
Okay, you can't rule out Hearts at Tynecastle. I think Celtic need a man sent off, penalty to Hearts, and then defend as if their lives depended on it.
Yeah, I thought you'd be too far away from that because again, even though they went at their best for the 90 minutes against Hibs, they still got something out of that game. Back against Hamilton, looked very, very comfortable. Hamilton scored a good goal, but Celtic were on top. So I think it would be, I'm like you, that would have to be maybe Hearts scoring first. We haven't had that for a long, long time. A team scoring first against Celtic and then see what kind of reaction. Because if you were to go behind against Celtic with these young boys that are playing, it's a hard ask for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And of course, Celtic marshalled in the middle by their captain, Scott Brown, and the manager, Brendan Rodgers, has been very complimentary, saying he has the Steven Gerrard effect on Celtic.
I've just seen it working with Steven Gerrard. Every player that would come up against Steven, they raise their game 10-15% because they're up against a top player. And Brownie has the same up here every week. Every player that comes up against him, they know how good he is. So they always see it as a real test. So whether it's the young guy at Hearts or some of the other players, Brownie faces that every week. But that's why it's remarkable how well Scott Brown's done here.
Okay, even when Celtic are not playing well, they're still getting the results. Brendan Rodgers did mention, though, he's been linked with a few people to strengthen that defence.
Our identity as a team is to defend well, first of all. I think we can still be better in that front, even though we've conceded less goals at this period of the season than what we did last season. But I still feel there's areas of that, where we can be a little bit more synchronised in our work and in our pressing. The players are doing very, very well at it, but our demand is to be better in those moments.
Celtic to win it by a couple of goals.
Yeah, I think Hearts maybe not, but I would think they possibly will be beaten 3-1.
Okay, I didn't expect the scoreline from you on that, but we'll take it anyway so that we can check it out on the Monday on the programme. Coming up, we're going to talk about another one of Ruffy's old clubs, Partick Thistle. This time they are up there at Dens Park against Dundee. Can they get another confidence-boosting win, or will it be Neil McCann's side bouncing back? What did you go for, Ruffy? I can't remember.
97.
97. Okay, we blew that big time. Dundee, Partick Thistle. This one's strange. I can't work out Dundee. I mean, I couldn't put them on a coupon because you never know what you're getting at the moment.
No, I think Neil McCann's the same. I think if you see him after any of the games he plays, he's just shaking his head in either disbelief that he's lost a goal or disbelief of how they lost the game. And unfortunately for Partick, I think that they're due a win. I think he'll be encouraged by some of the play that they had against Aberdeen. I saw a lot of the highlights, and they should have taken something out of that game. But Partick will go up there buoyant with the win. They know they'll have to be disciplined at the back, and obviously they lost another 2 goals late on, which is always a wee bit of a worry when you're coasting 3-0. But he'll take the win, and I keep saying, teams at the bottom, even if you go and pick up points here, point there, it takes you gradually out of the danger area.
They've conceded 12 goals in the last 5 games. Yeah. Ruffy, is that a worry? Is that something?
No, I think the worry was that they were the lowest goal scorers in the league before the 3 goals there in midweek, and that would be a worry, that you're not scoring goals, because obviously the teams that aren't scoring goals are stuck at the bottom. But that's 3 goals, 3 different players who scored. It'll give them a lot of confidence to go up there, and they'll get chances. But I just feel that Dundee have got something more to offer.
Yeah, well, Partick boss Alan Archibald says that midweek win over Motherwell has boosted the confidence.
Yeah, obviously better getting the victory. Great first half performance, delighted with that. The second were a bit disappointed and the players were even angry coming in at the end of the game. Disappointed with the second half performance, but obviously we take the 3 points and we move on. Hopefully it can give us a bit, much needed bit of confidence. The last time we got a victory, our first victory, we went on a wee kind of mini run, so hopefully it helps again. We've got crucial games coming up against the teams round about us, and starting with Saturday with Dundee, so no, hopefully we can kick on from it.
After that, it's Celtic, Hamilton, Aberdeen and Ross County to finish off what has been a really, heavily populated fixture list for the Jags.
Yeah, and I think Alan knew that. I think that's why he was a wee bit annoyed with the game at Hearts. It was going to maybe be put off, and that would have been another game on to this month. But in saying that, when you're playing and you're winning, if you're winning, you'll take the games hard and fast. If you get a Saturday, Wednesday win, the next Saturday you'll be looking forward to it rather than not. But you have to keep winning. And but I'm sure if they go up there and get a point, I'd be happy with that.
Do you know what I was glad about? I mean, obviously, I say glad, and it'll upset Motherwell fans, but the reason why I was happy about the Thistle win in midweek was because I think we're all getting to the point now where if somebody goes on a 3 or 4 game, run without a win, because of the lunacy of what's happening north and south of the border. We're actually getting to that point where people are thinking, I wonder if you're going to pick up the back, the papers, and they're going to be suggesting somebody should be sacked. I think the punditry is becoming, at a point where I don't know if we're maybe being programmed into it. You're starting to look at less and less games for our managers to turn things around, which is why I was happy that there's another one, a win there for Alan. Get on with it. Wait to see where you finish at the end of the season.
I think we're fortunate enough up here in Scotland that most of the clubs are owned by what I would say was maybe Scottish or British people.
Yeah.
I think if you look down south, you look at most of the clubs are owned by millionaires or billionaires from Malaysia or Thailand too, who are big business.
Do you think there's less of a family feel about it?
Yeah, because you hear about managers flying over to meet the owner, who never comes to games, he never sees who's playing. He's probably just looking at results. He's obviously got somebody in the camp, to give him what's happening at the club. But I think in Scotland, I think we're fortunate enough that owners and directors of clubs are closer to the manager. I think they have a better working relationship because they probably meet them nearly every day, whereas obviously down south they don't seem to meet the owners of the clubs. They just have to wait until they get the phone call. Yeah,
well, thankfully Alan's not getting any phone call, but he's aware that the next few games are tough.
Yeah, look, it's huge. I think when you play the teams round about us, with it being so tight, and the other fixtures as well, they're playing each other. The other teams involved at the bottom end, so we know how big a 3 points it can be if you can get it. Saturday gives us a chance to move off the bottom, and that's our goal. It'll be a tough task. We know how good Dundee are. I mean, they came to our place earlier and created a number of good opportunities and never took them, and we kind of countered them. So it'll be a tough task.
Okay, let's switch our attention to Kilmarnock against Motherwell. I think it's refreshing. Alan Burrows come out and I think echoed the sentiments of every Motherwell fan in thanking Louis Moult for his contribution to Motherwell since he arrived from Wrexham as a £50,000 buy. They've made a bit of money on him as well. He's been so upfront and transparent with them and what he wants to do with his life and his football career. I just think it's something that a number of clubs should take a leaf out of Motherwell's book in their approach to this.
Yeah, I think the whole of Motherwell, for the owners, to the manager, to the players, to the player himself, have come through the last 2 or 3 months impeccable. And I have to congratulate the supporters as well, who might have turned on him a wee bit, because that's what like supporters are. But I think the whole thing was handled impeccably by everybody at Motherwell, and it made the player feel a wee bit more relaxed, because we had Louis in here and obviously he was a wee bit anxious, how the fans would be, with all the speculation, but he himself deserves a lot of credit for just putting his head down and giving his best for Motherwell, and look at the rewards they got. Yeah, and Stephen Robinson, the Motherwell boss, says he's well down the line and trying to come up with a replacement. It's not going to be a lot of money they're going to spend on him. It could be yet again one of those guys they try and get in an out of contract deal. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll find that, Peter, in January, that there won't be a lot of money thrown about. I think it'll be managers using their contacts, players who are maybe coming out on loan, and I think that this is when the managers will have to work overtime, because it's okay identifying somebody to come up, but they've got to hit the ground running. And you're looking at Motherwell, where Louis Moult, who scored that many goals for them, they have to find a replacement very, very quickly, and that's what they'll have to be actively doing as we speak.
Yep. I mean, that's the strange thing about it. The goal scorers can, you know, really propel you away from dangerous areas, and with that, they come up against the Kilmarnock side unbeaten in the last 3, and again, I've tipped in the last 24 hours, Ruffy, Kilmarnock to be clear of it. I think it's 4 now. That will be looked at. You might think it's 5 or 6.
No, I still think it's 5. I think there's a fixture list out there. As Alan Archibald touched on it there, there'll be a fixture list when other teams will have maybe 3 games where they won't expect to pick up points, and they won't. And that depends on the other teams to pick up points in the fixture list that they've got. So I think it'll be topsy-turvy right until the end. I think these 5 teams will be there or thereabouts. But it just shows you, as you said there, if you can get 3 wins, where it can propel you in this league.
Yeah, okay. So who's winning that one, Kilmarnock or Motherwell?
I think, unfortunately, the time that Motherwell have had the cup and everything, I think it's beginning to take its toll on some of the players. So I'm going to stick my neck out and go for a Kilmarnock one.
Oh, okay. Hamilton against Ross County. Here's the stinker. I don't want any of us to pick that one in our treble tomorrow. No chance.
No, but obviously you have to say the way Hamilton have been playing in the last month, been very encouraged by obviously the way they play. I mean, they just all work for each other, and if they could get the goals, you know, I think they might just win this one.
Yeah, they've only 2 draws in the last 4.
Yeah, but I think that they've been there. They've had chances there and thereabouts. You know, obviously, I think Dougie Imrie has been superb in the last month. I think he's been a big part of the success. Obviously, captain of the club. You know, and they've had a few players out injured as well. So I think it's going to be really, really tight. Really tight. I mean, Ross County were reasonable against Rangers last week. So they maybe think this is one of the fixtures that they think they could pick up 3 points in.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a look at the fixtures elsewhere across the other 4 divisions. First of all, the Championship. This is what's on offer tomorrow. If you join us at 2 o'clock, we'll keep you up to date with Falkirk, Brechin, Inverness against Dumbarton, Livingston against Morton, Queen of the South against Dundee United, and St Mirren Dunfermline. There are 2 games there, Ruffy, that I think we could be talking about as far as game of the day.
On you go.
Well, I
thought you were going to tell me.
No, I thought you were going to pick them.
I think
Queen of the South,
Queen of the South, yeah.
St Mirren Dunfermline.
Well, yeah, there are teams, you know, hovering about that 4th place.
It might even be Livingston Morton's a shout.
That's right. You know,
it's great, this division.
It's fantastic. It's really good. And I still don't think Dundee United will run away with it. I think St Mirren will have something to say about it. I think Dundee United will drop points against the likes of Queen of the South, the likes of Morton. And I think it'll be right till the end. And I've just got a funny feeling there'll be a team maybe push themselves into that 4th place that hasn't been there before.
Well, I was going to say to you, if ever there's a chance again, this top spot has been switching from Dundee United to St Mirren over the last few weeks. I think there could be another switch tomorrow, because I think Queen of the South can upset Dundee United down in Dumfries, and St Mirren can win. There you are.
There you go. Brilliant. But again, I agree with you, but particularly because Queen of the South have done it before.
Yeah. I'm saying Queen of the South will win, and I'm saying St Mirren will win. Wow. Do you agree with me?
No, I think Dundee United will be a draw.
Okay. Right, Ruffy. Oh dear. Okay. After the break, we'll look at League One and League Two, and then we're going to speak to our man down south, Ian McGarry. We'll get a chance to chat to Ian about David Moyes. What about Burnley? A sensation. Sam Allardyce is in our thoughts. And game of the weekend is undoubtedly Manchester City against Spurs. Ruffy, we were all over the place with that one. Didn't get that one at all. Miles out.
Remember the name of the chap in the first the picture? Santa Claus.
Yeah, do I remember his name in the movie?
No, his real name.
I was going to say.
Santa
I was
Claus?
going to say Chris Kringle, but what was his name?
I thought it was Bud Lives.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. I'm going to have to check. I'm going to have to check that out, Ruffy. Although that's by far the best version.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you accept that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think the female lead was played by Maureen O'Hara. You happy with that?
I'm happy with that, yeah.
Okay, there you are, so a wee bit of knowledge. Or could it be that you were sitting in front of a telly with only 3 channels you were made to watch them when you were younger? It's as simple as that. 1947, so far off the mark. I don't know how you fared at it. That's our final question. We have got a couple of things I want to get your thoughts on. First of all, let's look at League One and the fixtures. Ruffy, over Saturday. Join us STV2 at 2 o'clock if you can. Here's what's on offer in League One. Alloa against Arbroath, East Fife Ayr United, Queen's Park Airdrieonians, Wraith Rovers, Albion Rovers, and Stranraer against Forfar. I would think Alloa against Arbroath has the tag as game of the day, because it's third against fourth. Ayr United, Wraith Rovers is just a ding-dong battle to see who slips up week in, week out between them.
You're right, and Ayr United are the form team just now. They're even getting wins when they're not playing particularly well, but you're right, Alloa are sneaking up the table after quite a slow start. But I'm going to give my mention to Stranraer. My old captain at Glenafton, Stevie Farrell, is a manager at Stranraer, and they're doing particularly well.
Yeah, were you a fan of him as a player?
Yeah, great player. I thought it was one of the best buys I ever had at Glenafton.
He was the best buy?
Yeah, one of the best buys.
Yeah.
I know I gave him a big head.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he was a thorough professional then, and I can see why he's so successful as a manager now.
Okay, there you are. It was a compliment of some sort, Stevie. That's all I can get for you. Let's look at League Two and the fixtures for Saturday afternoon and beyond, as you'll see shortly. Annan against Stirling Albion, Berwick Rangers against Peterhead, Cowdenbeath Clyde, Edinburgh City against Stenhousemuir, and Montrose against Elgin. So Montrose in the box seat. I'm still at this point going to suggest to you that Peterhead are going to win it.
Yeah, they seem to have learned from them lessons for last year. I think they're building a lot of experience. And as usual now, every Saturday, Roddy McAllister usually scores sometime during the duration of the show. And that's why they'll be so successful again. I've
just got your thoughts quickly before we talk to Ian McGarry about Michael O'Neill said there's no contact from the SFA. Should that set alarm bells off, or is it just a case that maybe everybody's jumping on the bandwagon and thinking he's the only candidate?
Well, I thought we were all led to believe that he was going to be interviewed, you know, through the process at the SFA. But again, you know, I think Northern Ireland have decided the worth to him. They've obviously extended his contract, and he's going to go back and have another chat with them. And but again, I would like to think that Scotland have had a move or spoken to him through some kind of procedure.
Yep, absolutely. OK, let's concentrate on the English Premier League. Our man down south is the man to talk to, of course, Ian McGarry. Manchester City against Spurs is the game of the weekend. I've tipped Spurs to win it, but Ian, I didn't think... I tipped Man City to win the title, and I'm tipping them to win against Spurs, but I didn't think City would be this good.
Incredible, Peter. Not just this good in terms of wins, and remember, 15 consecutive Premier League victories, a new record, beating Arsenal's record over 2 seasons, spanning 2 seasons, I should say, of 2002. It's the way they play. They're just magnificent to watch. And even in a game, say, for instance, midweek this week away against Swansea City, where you think they might take the foot off the gas, David Silva scores one of the goals of the season. A brilliant passing movement, superb finish, and just, you know, who can touch them? And of course, tomorrow, home to Spurs, a team who started the season well, but have definitely fallen to 7th place now in the Premier League. I watched them at Wembley on Wednesday night against Brighton, and there was no spark, none whatsoever. It's almost like the fire's gone out for them. Very, very strange for Spurs.
I was going to say, Ian, the highlight for me in these big games is obviously the manager's interviews after the game. Is this going to be a run-in now? Who's going to be the best? Klopp, Mourinho? Are they all going to be at it?
Well, just we found out, that Mourinho's now been asked to give observations by the FA on his pre-match news conference before Manchester City because of what we talked about in last week's show. They fall down if there's a blow of wind. So you're right, Hugh. It's going to be very, very funny in terms of the mind games will continue, the verbal spats will continue. But I think you've got to love Guardiola's presence, his charisma. He's got this sort of whole aura of a man who's in control, loves the way his team's playing, and thinks, look, come and have a go at us because I don't think you're going to beat us.
Well, I've got to look at that table, and again, I'm almost having a second look to see Burnley and where they are in the table. They've just been surprising everyone.
That's exactly right, Peter. They have been surprising people. They've been surprising people because they've been winning games on the road. They only won one game away from home last season. And this season they've been phenomenal on the road. And look, Sean Dyche has got to take great credit. I don't know if you saw, again, going back to manager's press conference, he said he was the most proud man of Proudsville after the midweek win. He says, write what you like, I don't care. I'm so happy, I don't care. And they've been an amazing surprise package this season. They come down to Brighton and Hove Albion, the Amex Stadium, on Saturday. And look, they look like a team who are going to be very difficult to beat, no matter if they're home or away. Strange as well, though, that Sean Dyche was overlooked for the Everton job, the West Ham job, and the West Brom job when they all came up. And hey, maybe he's got the last laugh because he's the one sitting in the Champions League places right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned there he was overlooked for the Everton job, but Sam Allardyce just seems to... He has something. I'm a big fan of him. I think sometimes he's unfairly criticised for the style of football, but he knows how to organise a team. And again, suddenly, Wayne Rooney is confounding the critics.
It's, we call him Big Sam. Maybe we should start calling him Super Size Sam. Because the way that he's resurrected Everton season, they're in 10th place. They were in the bottom 3 before he took over. 4 wins and a draw. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And Wayne Rooney confirmed today as having the best shot conversion rate in all 5 of Europe's top leagues, even outstripping Mauro Icardi of Inter Milan, who's been absolutely sensational this season so far. So, and again, he got goal of the month as well today for the amazing, 120-yard strike against West Ham, where he put the ball over everyone's head. It's a good news story because I think that Everton's a club that, while they've had their ups and downs, people in England have a soft spot for them. They've always lived in Liverpool's shadow. So the fact that they're now back on the up is something which I think a lot of people are taking heart from. And of course, Big Sam is a popular character. Divides opinion, but I think generally speaking, a very popular guy. And
before I get your prediction on Man City against Spurs, Ian, I've just got to touch on David Moyes. It's an old but simple thing to do as far as coming in as a new manager and changing little bits of the training, but he's decided not to let the players run too much, and he's added the ball more often than not. That seems like a good plan to me.
Do you know what, Peter? That's almost anti-David Moyes that I've ever known. He was a man who would run his players into the ground to get them fit. But listen, it seems to be working. What Moyes has done at West Ham, he's applied that whole, Sergeant Major, bad cop, if you like. Those players were very, very lazy. They weren't performing. They were underperforming. And what Moyes has done is he's gone and done what David Moyes does. He said to them, look, you guys are playing for your jobs here. And there's no doubt about this. We are in a relegation battle. You have to get us out of this. I can't do anything once you cross that line. So make sure you do it. And that's actually worked. And I've been quite surprised because the players at West Ham have a bit of a reputation for a bit namby-pamby. And yet he has managed to get them on it every single game. The organisation is great. We've been Mikel Antonio up front as a lone striker, again, not necessarily a natural striker, but he's been playing as a false 9. They've been getting the goal that they need to get results. And what a wonderful result against Chelsea last weekend. That's really boosted them. And great to see Moyes doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then, give us your thoughts on it. It's the game of the weekend. Man City Spurs. Can Pochettino somehow derail Guardiola's juggernaut?
I don't see it, Peter. I wrongly predicted last week, and I hold my hands up, that Manchester United would win against them last weekend. City outplayed them, outgunned them. Okay, Romelu Lukaku's defending had a lot to do with it. But I would say that City will probably overrun Spurs. Certainly the Spurs I saw at Wembley on Wednesday night, even though they beat Brighton, they were very, very poor. And at the moment, I just can't see anyone beating Manchester City. I didn't believe the hype about could they go the season unbeaten, but you know what? We're nearly halfway there now, 17 games in, and they're unbeaten. So Brendan Rodgers, watch out.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers indeed, watch out. This Invincibles tag is growing week by week, north and south of the border. Join us tomorrow, STV2. We'll be on at 2 o'clock, keeping you up to date with all the goals that hit the back of the net across all 4 divisions in Scotland and the Premier League in England as well. Hopefully Hugh McDonald will be fit and healthy with a sling. If he can make it, great. Gordon Smith will be with Alan Ruff and myself. And then, of course, tomorrow night, the STV party. Let's hope, Ruffy, it's not like last year when nobody spoke to us. We were just sitting on our own.
Yeah, but this year I'm sure it'll be a lot better. We met so many friends at the end of the night.
Yeah, here's hoping.